Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn Turkish the Easy Way channel. Good evening to everyone. This is our next live session on random topics, and I welcome everyone who is new to this channel. Just before we start with our lesson, just an encouragement: if you're still not a member of this channel, you are encouraged to subscribe and definitely open your notifications for further kind of classes. I usually have regular classes throughout the week. Sometimes it's twice per week, sometimes it's 3 times, 4 times per week, depending on my leisure time. But this is basically one of those series that I have. I call it random topics, random live lessons, because sometimes something pops up in my mind, and I consider a specific topic to be important to be covered, so I just call them random topics. Okay. So today we will cover another lesson, random topic, and this is basically a continuation of the previous 3 or 4 classes where we were adding certain suffixes to the verb roots or to the verbs that have extensive use in Turkish language. And today one of those suffixes, extra suffixes, is madan or meden suffix. Now, we already covered the up, ip, up, up, right? And we also covered arak, erek suffixes that are added to verbs. And this is the third within that series. I have to say, not one thing, that these suffixes are within the list of those that make adverb out of verbs. Okay, so the previous 2 were also within that group. Up, ip, up, up, as well as the arak, erek endings or suffixes were among within that group. Okay, and this is the third suffix type of the suffix that is within that group of suffixes making adverbs out of verbs. Okay, we call them fiil zarf, okay, which means basically adverbs made of verbs. Okay, but there are also, of course, fiil sifat, which means adjectives made of verbs, or fiil isim, which basically nouns made out of verbs. We'll cover them separately, of course, but just wanted to make sure that you see the big picture where we stand in terms of the suffixes. Okay, these are the suffixes, at least the third one within that group of suffixes that make adverbs out of verbs. So let's go to our work pad and see what is the rule overall for that. Just a reminder, if you want to get the notification about the further classes, I usually use a Telegram channel that is specified here, as well as in the description of the video. So just join it to get in advance, to get some messages in advance about the further classes. And again, of course, if you like this video, I would appreciate a like. Push that button below the video. It really helps the channel to grow faster. So what is the madan meden suffix all about? Let me bring those things up for you. Okay, what I have as a kind of my rules or the kind of notes. Okay, so these are the rule and notes. First of all, we add as a general rule, right, we add madan meden suffixes to verbs to describe the how or when of that action, okay, of the verb. How something happens or when something happens. Okay, these are the basic broad 2 purposes of adding madan and meden suffixes to the verb roots. Now, of course, you might wonder why it's madan and meden. It depends, of course, on the vowel harmony. I don't even consider it to be important to be covered, because you already know that you should probably by now at least know the vowel harmony rule in Turkish language. So some syllables have to be followed by hard syllables with the hard consonant, vowels should be followed by the endings or suffixes, usually with the hard vowels, and soft vowels usually require the soft vowels. So madan is the case for the hard vowels, and meden is the case for the soft vowels, right? I'm not going deep into that, because That's an old topic. We already covered this, and I already have a video on the vowel harmony. There are exceptions, of course, to this vowel harmony, in terms of the endings and suffixes that don't change, right, based on the preceding syllables. But still, overall, the Turkish language has this very broad rule of vowel harmony that is requiring certain kind of a synchronization, right? Certain synchronization and certain kind of synchronization between the previous syllables and the following syllables. Welcome, by the way. I don't know your name. Know it all. Lina. Okay. Welcome, Lina, to the class. Thank you for joining. So that's it, right? That's basically what the description. We use usually how to describe how and when of the action, right? Of the verb action, of the action verb. Now, usually, what is the meaning of this madan meden? It has a usual meaning of what? Before or without doing so. Before doing something or without doing something. Okay, these are the broadest two meanings of madan meden. But one thing. So before we go into the structure, this madan meden, right, is added to what? Is added to the root of the verbs. Just a second. Excuse me. All right. So this madan meden endings are added to the roots of the verbs, which means what? If the verb is gitmek, you throw away mek part, right? It becomes git is the root here. So that's basically how we find the root. So let me just give you another example, right? Gitmek, right? Gelmek, yapmak, vermek. These are all infinitive forms of the verbs in Turkish language. So when you throw away this mek, right, mek, mak, and mek here, it becomes the root. You are left with the root of the verb. Okay. So basically, what you do, you add this madan meden to the roots only. Gitmeden, gelmeden, right? Yatmadan, vermeden. That's basically how we add. So let me erase it. Okay. So we have the verb root, and then we add directly madan or meden. Now, and here you have example, okay? Izlemeden, gitmem, for example. I won't go without swimming, which means what? I won't go before first swimming, okay? Now, a very important part over here is what the structure of madan is actually. The structure of madan here is what? Or madan is that this part, okay, this ma and this me, they are actually the negative ending here. Sorry, negative suffix, okay? That makes the verbs. Remember when we say, for example, I don't go, gitmem, right? Or I don't want, istemiyorum, right? Yapmıyorum. So that is exactly the negative, what makes the verb negative. Okay, so that ma or me here are negative, are making the verb negative. So that's the negative structure. Let me just capitalize it for you, okay? Yatmadan and gitmeden. So this ma and me is negation here, okay? Same as it's negation in all other verb and tenses, okay? And dan here, dan is the ablative case ending, okay? Quite normal, you already know the cases, right? We have 6 cases in the Turkish language. So ma is negation here, okay? And then dan is the ablative case endings. This is the structure of madan meden, where it comes from, okay? As a etymology of that. So therefore, when we say izlemeden gitmem, it means I won't go without. You see, without, it already has some kind of negation here. So I won't go unless I swim, or before I first swim. That's basically what it means, okay? So you see this here, this me here is again negation. Let me also capitalize it here for you, just for the purposes of the class. So izleme, right? Izleme means no swimming, right? And dan is ablative case ending. That is the structure of this, which should not be confused with the ablative case of the gerund, okay, which is here, okay, the next line here. I already put a note here. So we should be careful about not to confuse this madan meden endings with the ablative case of the gerund, okay? Gerund What is gerund in English? Sorry, in Turkish, the gerund form of in Turkish is the same as I just mentioned, right? For example, if you say vermek, right? Gitmek, sorry, not n. Vermek, gitmek, yapmak, right? This is the infinitive form. When you delete k, letter k, in Turkish verbs, infinitive form verbs, you get the gerund, okay? So verme, gitme, yapma is the gerund of these verbs. But pay attention to the stress, emphasis. The stress and emphasis is not on the first syllable, okay? The stress is on me. On me here and ma here. Therefore, pronunciation by default is different, okay? So therefore we say what? Verme, gitme, yapma. Not verme, gitme, or yapma, okay? Gerunds in Turkish are pronounced in such a way that the stress and emphasis is at the last, okay? Ma, me part, okay? This is the stress here, emphasis. Let me make it bold, okay? We are stressing the me, ma part here. That is how you make it gerund. But in the first example, we've talked about the here, right? The suffix meden, madan suffix, you don't emphasize the second part. You emphasize the first part. You say izlemeden, okay? Izlemeden. That's why I gave you two same examples. You see here you pronounce it izlemeden gitmem. Here in the second sentence it's izlemeden sonra, okay? Izlemeden sonra. So you have izme and then you have izlemeden sonra. Therefore, this pronunciation, the second pronunciation, is different than the first one here, okay? The first one is izlemeden. So the stress is on the root, okay? The stress is on the root. Be careful here. Izlemeden gitmem. While here in the second sentence, we say izlemeden sonra, okay? After swimming. And by the way, we already covered in one of the lessons how we say before and after, okay, something. And this is the structure, before after structure. How we say, we add this dan to the nouns or verbs, gerunds, it doesn't matter. Then we have this verb sonra, right? So sonra means after. So therefore, when you want to say after something, you have this structure, then done structure, right? Then done sonra structure. So don't confuse. I deliberately used the same verbs here to show you the difference in terms of emphasis and intonation, okay? Izlemeden gitmem is the first one. I won't go without swimming. Okay, I want to swim first and then I want to go. While the second one is izlemeden sonra, which means after swimming, I drink tea, okay? Çay içerim. Izlemeden sonra çay içerim. Okay, that is what we have to keep in mind, not to confuse it. How can you distinguish them? Of course, first of all, it's the pronunciation. Second, it's the meaning. Okay, you cannot. For example, if you say izlemeden gitmem, it means what? If you pronounce it, if you put the emphasis on the second part, izlemeden gitmem, not izlemeden gitmem, then it will mean I won't go. So I won't go from swimming. Okay, that's meaningless. Okay, izlemeden gitmem. That is meaningless even in the Turkish language itself. So that you will understand that it is not izlemeden but izlemeden, okay? Izlemeden gitmem. I won't go without swimming. So if you want to make something the meaning of which one, before or without something, right? Then it is the suffixes madan, meden. It's not the ablative case of the gerund, okay? Which is the ablative case of this one, verme, gitme, yapma, okay? That's different. So that's basically what we have to know as kind of the rules and notes. So let's look at the examples of madan, meden as suffixes, this meaning, okay? Not the second one. We don't deal with the second part with this one. This is not our topic today. Our topic here is this part, okay? The suffixes madan, meden. This note was here just for you not to confuse it with the similar structure, which is the ablative case of the gerund. Now let's look at the examples. The first example here, seni görmeden gitmem. You see, pronunciation is here görmeden, not görmeden. Okay, seni görmeden gitmem. Seni here is the accusative case of you, right? Sen, accusative case of sen. Seni görmeden without seeing you, right? Gitmem. I won't go, or I don't go, depending on the context. It can mean I won't go, I wouldn't go, or I don't go. The present, simple present tense, okay? So, you see, just to make clear, it is görmeden. The pronunciation is görmeden, not görmeden, okay? Because görmeden is also possible. In Turkish language, it is possible when you have when it's the ablative case of the gerund, okay? But that's not the case here. We pronounce it as seni görmeden gitmem, okay? I won't go without seeing you, or before seeing you first, something like that, okay? I'm trying to translate you kind of to give you the approximate translations, the best translations. So that's basically how it is. Let's now look at the second example. Kitap okumadan uyumam. You see, kitap it means a book, or right, a book. In this case, it will be just a book, right? Okumadan, right? Not okumadan, but okumadan. Kitap okumadan uyumam. Without reading a book. I don't sleep, or I don't go to bed. Uyumak, right? Uyumak is the verb to sleep, to go to bed. Uyumam is the negative of the present tense, right? Uyumam, uyurum, uyumam. Kitap okumadan uyumam. I don't sleep, or I wouldn't sleep. I won't sleep without reading a book. Kitap okumadan uyumam. I don't sleep. And again, pronunciation, you see, the stress is on the root of the verb. Okumadan. Kitap okumadan uyumam. Thank you, Camelia. Oh, we have to comment. Hocam, you also talked about madan meden structure after some verb. I remember. Nefret etmekten. Yes. Salman Khan, welcome. You are also welcome. Let me just see the name. Oyehindra, right? I hope I am not pronouncing it, spelling it wrongly, pronouncing it wrongly. So yeah, nefret etmek. You might when you hate something, we will talk about. Yeah, when you use the verb hate, right? To hate something, you use it with the ablative case structure, right? Senden nefret ediyorum, right? Ojin, okay, ojin. So basically, when you say use the verb hate, right? Let me just use it here, just as a parenthesis, okay, for ojin, to hate, right? Nefret etmek. You use it with the ablative case, right? You use it with the dan-den endings. For example, senden, right? Senden nefret ediyorum, which means what? I hate you. Sorry, I hate you. You see, we use this dan-den ablative case endings when you want to mention something. For example, you can say, I hate reading, right? Okumaktan nefret ediyorum. Okumaktan, okay? So, for example, this one will be what? If you say okumaktan, okumak is to read. Okumaktan is I hate that. So you make it ablative case ending. Okumaktan nefret, which means I hate reading. Okay, that's how you use dan with the hate verb. That's a specific verb, though. Okay, let's not confuse it other people. Yeah, I think that's but that's ablative case. Okay, ablative case. When we use it that way, that's the structure for the hate verb specifically. Salman Khan, I already have a past tense video on the past tense, so please this is, by the way, is in the description. Okay, you can find the past tense in the description of this video anyway. I put it already there. It's in the description of this video. I will put it also in the comments. Okay, in the comments, please watch that one. We already have a kind of video on the past tense, simple past tense, and let me also kind of put it here for you. Let me see if I can paste it here. I don't know how to paste it here. I have never written in the chat here. Let me see if I can. No. Anyway, it is already in the description of this video. Okay, it will be at the end when the video is over. You will see it in the description of the video, the past tense video. All right. So Let me just not put it here. Alright, my screen is going crazy. Okay, I'm back to my original screen. Yeah. So let's continue with the examples. Let me just delete this one because that's not relevant. Let's look at the third example of madan meden. Bunu bilmeden yaptım. Okay. Now bilmeden here also has a rhetoric meaning of unknowingly. Okay. Bilmeden means without knowing, right? So the translation will be unknowingly. I did it unknowingly. Bunu is the accusative case of bu, right? Which means this or it. It doesn't matter. So bunu is the accusative case of bu. I did it without knowing. Okay. Bilmeden. Bilmek is the to know, right? Bil is to know, sorry, the root, and you add madan here to make it without knowing. So I did it without knowing. Bunu bilmeden yaptım. Again, pay attention to the stress. Here it is what? Bilmeden, not bilmeden. Okay? Bunu bilmeden yaptım. I did it without knowing or unknowingly. Okay? Okay, let's look at the fourth example. Gelmeden önce beni ara. Here gelmek is to come, right? Gelmeden means before coming. And this is, by the way, remember here we said what? How, right? Or when. So we have two purposes to use this madan meden, how or when. In the first examples right here, görmeden gitmem, which means before, without seeing, right? I will not go before seeing, actually, before seeing you. Here it is before reading, right? I will not sleep before reading. It's about when, right? I did it without knowing. That's about how. How did I do it? Without knowing. So unknowingly. That's about the how question, right? Here we also have a special structure, right? Which is önce. Same as sonra, which means after. We also have this before structure, okay? Gelmeden önce beni ara. Beni is the accusative case of ben, right? Which means me. Gelmeden önce, the before structure in Turkish is madan meden, okay? So or you can even put it shorter because it's den önce, den önce, okay? But here it becomes a madan meden structure, okay? Madan meden, before coming. So call me before coming, okay? And the same sentence, okay? The same sentence can be used also without this önce. Okay? If you delete this önce here, okay? Gelmeden beni ara, it will mean the same thing, okay? Call me before coming. Because we already mentioned above that madan meden means two things, right? Either before or without. So even if you delete that önce here, okay, this önce, that will still mean before coming, okay? Gelmeden beni ara. Gelmeden önce beni ara. Önce by default is the full translation of that will be before, right? Önce. So gelmeden önce means before coming, or gelmeden also means before coming. Okay? Gelmeden önce beni ara, or gelmeden beni ara. Okay, I'll read your comments after finishing. Okay, we have two more examples. Let me finish that one. I'll respond to your comments. Just a second. So then we have another example. What? Yapmadan sormalısın. Okay. You have to ask, you should ask, you must ask before doing. Okay. Yapmadan önce sormalısın or yapmadan sormalısın. They are both the same thing. Okay. Because here the meaning is before. So yapmadan önce sormalısın or yapmadan sormalısın. Sormak is to ask, right? Right. We have a root sor. Then we have malı meli, which is must or should. And then we have sin, you, right? So yapmak, we have yap root, and then we add madan before doing, okay? Without doing first. You should ask, you must ask before doing. Okay? Yapmadan sormalısın. Again, the emphasis is on yapmadan, okay? Yapmadan, not yapmadan. And I think I have one more example. Let me just bring that up. Okay, let me put it down here. Görmeden söyleyebilirim. Okay, I can say without seeing. Görmek is to see. Gör is the root. Meden is the structure we add. söyleyebilirim is I can say. It's the can structure, right? Can, I may, I can structure. So görmeden söyleyebilirim. And again, the emphasis is on the first, on the root, right, of the verb. Görmeden. Görmeden söyleyebilirim. I can say without saying. Okay. That is basically our 7 examples, I believe, right? 7 or 6. 6. Okay. 6 examples. I don't have more of those. I think it should be clear, right? With all these examples, it should be clear how we use it. And this is just the structure, madan, meden. Here is our rules. Okay, we are done with the lesson. Let me just answer your questions. Hello, Fabiola. Welcome. We have many live viewers today. I didn't expect to have so many. Even if it's just 5 people, it's really many for me compared to the previous lessons. Salman Khan. To increase vocabulary, the first thing you have to do is to read as much as possible. Okay, to read. Reading is the first number one tool to increase vocabulary, and especially writing by handwriting. Okay, I usually advise any language learner to read very much and rewrite what you read. Okay, when you are rewriting what you are reading by hand, there is a very high chance you will remember vocabulary. Okay, whatever you write down. That's one thing. And there are so many videos of vocabulary videos on the videos. I also have vocabulary videos in my channel. I am sure there are many other YouTube channels that show. Excuse me, can you hear me? Just to confirm, can you hear me? Alright, I think there was some kind of overload. Yeah, just to repeat what I just mentioned. I think I have to close certain programs because the programs make it a bit difficult for the program to Okay, I think the sound is okay. Yeah, it's some kind of there's some kind of a glitch here. I don't know why it's happening. Some kind of a load. I'm sure it's load. Okay, let me close some programs. All right. So yeah, for the vocabulary purposes, the best thing that I advise is to read as much as possible and rewrite what you are reading. Okay, that's the best. I myself, whenever I want to learn something new about any language, I usually read very much and try to rewrite what I read, because rewriting is the best in terms of trying to keep those words in mind. Linus asks, Hocam, I'm requesting you to make a video on how we use mak or meg and maktadır and mektedir. Okay, I'll get the note on that. Okay, but it will probably take time a bit. Okay, a bit time. Maybe during one of those random videos lessons, I will cover it. Okay, so I'll get a note of that, and we will cover that lesson. Sure, no problem. Makmek is basically the infinitive form, okay, of the verbs in Turkish. So yapmak, gitmek, it means to go. Okay, if you want to say, you can also use that with the verb want, right? To want. I want to go. Gitmek istiyorum. So you use the infinitive form, same as in English. I want to go, right? To go is the infinitive form. So in Turkish it's the same. Yapmak. I want to do, right? I want to go. Gitmek, yapmak istiyorum. So, well, that's basically infinitive form of the Turkish verbs, and we will cover it. Yes, no problem with that. We will cover that. Any other questions before I finish the video for today? Anything? No? Thank you very much for joining then. I hope to see you in the further classes. Don't forget to like the button, so to push the like button if you really like these lessons. I really appreciate that. So see you in the next live sessions. Enjoy the evening, enjoy the Friday, and enjoy the weekend. Thank you. Bye bye.